Hello everyone, this is part 11 of What If Naruto Leaves Konoha and Awakens Lava and Boil Release, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Castle of Iron. Top floor. Cage Summit. Naruto hefted the two swords he was currently holding, deciding it would be better to save his 9-sword style for later. Sasuke did nothing, observing Naruto unlike he had done in the past. Feeling like he would have to start the show, Naruto charged forward and clashed with Sasuke's katana. The swords sparked against one another. Naruto used his double sword combo to overpower Sasuke and pushed the weapon away, giving Naruto the chance to kick him towards the ground. He chased after him, going through a quick succession of hand signs for his jutsu. Lava release, melting apparition. Naruto shot a stream of lava out of his mouth towards Sasuke, who had just landed on the ground, his Sharingan tracking Naruto's movement. Activating Susanoo, he took the entirety of the lava to his body and dared Naruto to launch an attack at him. To his surprise, he could no longer see Naruto. Looking left and right, he was rewarded by 3 yellow flashes to his sides and front. To his horror, Sasuke saw that his rival had created not only 3 Razingans but they were nature-infused. Firestorm Rasengan. Naruto plunged all 3 of the red, swirling spheres of fire into Sasuke's ultimate defense. The blast pushed him through a wall into an adjacent hallway. May realized what he wanted her to do and quickly launched multiple waves of lava bullets at the broken wall. The lava quickly cooled and formed a barrier. Naruto ran through the doorway into the hall where Sasuke was still recovering from the attack. The Uzumaki quickly blocked all the doors with his own lava attack, effectively closing them inside with one another. Shadow Clone. Naruto created 2 copies of himself, each standing to the right or left of him. Sasuke watched with bated breath. Naruto made the horse hand sign as did his clones. He felt the acidic mist come up from his tea and spread amongst the room. With his clones, the amount of mist and the potential level of acidity would drastically increase, bringing the battle to a close much quicker. Boil Release, Skilled Mist. Sasuke was confused as to what the jutsu actually did until he saw the chakra mist with his Sharingan. Looking towards his Susanoo ribs, he saw them melting, something that should be impossible. Attempting to increase his chakra levels to enhance the Susanoo, Sasuke was met with incredible pain that came from all over his body. The toll on my body is astounding. I'm not sure how much more I can take. Was this how it always felt for those who were able to use it? Naruto smirked. The battle was as good as won now. Sasuke could not disperse the mist and Naruto wasn't about to let him leave. It's melting. You bastard. Sasuke coughed up some B. The fight with the Raikage was too much. Looks like the Raikage and Gaara really got you, huh? I guess you won't be so much of a challenge after all. Sasuke growled. He would not take these taunts from this Uzumaki. Sasuke once again tried to increase his chakra levels. However, his reserves had already been drained from the last time he used a full Susanoo. Naruto continued to just watch his old rival melt when he felt something on him start to grow. He looked down and saw Zetsu growing on him. The guy was smirking like a madman and Naruto could feel his chakras draining. You like to drain chakra, huh? Let's see you drain this. Naruto began to pump Kyuubi's chakra into him. The man's smirk and was replaced with an agonized look of pain. The leech fell to the ground and twitched like a fish on land for a few moments before from chakra poison. On the outside of the wall, chaos ensued as the ninja fought off Zetsu clones. Do you hear those screams, Naruto? Your friends are out there, you can't help them while you are stuck in here with me. Sasuke tried to get into Naruto's head, to let him escape from the trap. Naruto merely shook his head. The mind games wouldn't work on him. They were only surprised. I'm sure your friends' clones are being K as we speak. Don't worry, Sasuke, I'm not leaving until you are a pile of mush. Angered by the blonde's stubbornness, Sasuke charged forward with his katana, intent on K him. Naruto launched himself forward and met Sasuke in the middle of the hallway, his swords once again against his. The sparks flew from the force of impact. Sasuke's Sharingan allowed him to pick up on Naruto's movements, estimate where he would be and counter with stunning accuracy. Realizing he had to increase his speed or do something as he was losing the sword fight, Naruto threw 5 swords into the air and caught them. This allowed him to now wield 7 swords. Sasuke was intrigued by this. He had not been expecting Naruto to actually use any more than 2 swords. You can't really use that many swords, you imbecile. Naruto smirked. He didn't know just how wrong he was. We'll see about that, Naruto said, slightly muffled with the sword in between his teeth. He launched himself into the air and met Sasuke for a second time. Naruto was the one on the offensive soon enough, and Sasuke was struggling to keep up with the multiple swords that were launched at him. He could akin Naruto's style to a buzzsaw. The blades were always spinning, and no matter where he flanked there was always a sword to protect the blonde. Suddenly, Naruto threw the 2 swords he was holding with his hands up into the air and went through a quick succession of hand signs. I have got to speed this up, he is taking too long to s. Fire release, combustion ash cloud. Sasuke observed the thick smog as it raced towards him. He knew that he would be done for if he was caught in the blaze. Thinking quickly, the black-haired boy gathered up his chakra into his sword and quickly see a hole through the stone. This allowed him to escape right when Naruto clicked his teeth to activate the explosion, sending rubble and flames into the meeting room. Naruto waited for the smoke to clear before realizing that Sasuke had escaped and that the acidic mist was leaking out of the room. Looks like I'll have to tone it down a bit. He ran outside to find everyone still present, but Sasuke was nowhere to be found. Sensing an incoming presence to his right, Naruto turned in time to duck under a strike that his opponent had been waiting for. Building up chakra in his mouth, Naruto launched a few lava bullets towards Sasuke, who was forced to dodge the projectiles. The attack was accentuated when Mei got up from her chair and broke into a run towards Sasuke, launching her own salvo of lava bullets towards him. Sasuke turned his attention to the newcomer and glared at her with the Sharingan. She returned the gesture with a smirk. Don't interfere, woman. Mei grew a tick on her forehead and began to smile wide, a smile that Naruto knew to be anything but friendly. Oh, so you think you can order me around because I'm a woman, huh? Sasuke was taken aback by her joyous tone but smirked anyway. Of course, Uchiha women always knew their place. I don't know what kind backwards clan you come from, but Sasuke was stopped from talking when a well-placed fist sent him flying into the back wall. It cracked from the pressure. Sasuke looked up to find a pissed red head. Mei was shaking with anger over the boy's insult of the Uzumaki. Naruto. The teen in question quickly moved to her side, feeling even stronger now that he was fighting alongside Mei. I think it's time we try a combination attack. Are you ready? Naruto looked at her in surprise but nodded anyway. He wanted to know what attack they were going to do though. All you have to do is summon and then follow my lead. Naruto smirked, biting his finger and preparing the correct hand signs. Sasuke watched and prepared to lunge at them when a Zetsu came up and wrapped himself around Sasuke. He could feel himself becoming stronger with chakra. Zetsu must have been able to absorb chakra from the cage and their bodyguards while Naruto and I were in the hallway. It feels so empowering. Naruto and Mei noticed that Sasuke seemed to be growing stronger and the Susanoo was coming back in full force. Now Naruto. He quickly s his hand on the ground and from the puff of smoke came a large, two-tailed lava monkey with steel armor and green eyes. Uzumaki-sama, I have come as requested. Use your lava with us, we must do it simultaneously. Nodding his assent, the lava monkey began to form hand signs along with Mei and Naruto. Lava release, molten flood. The Uzumaki launched a massive amount of boiling lava from their mouths along with the summon. The spray of intense heat immediately melted anything it touched. The other cage were amazed at such a powerful bloodline. Onoki merely huffed. Show-offs. Kankuro and Temari watched on in amazement. Wow, I didn't know Naruto could do that. Sasuke brought his hands up in an X to defend himself but was ultimately engulfed in the lava. His Susanoo broke and it looked like he had been caught by the blast. An agonizing scream echoed the room that belonged to Sasuke. Mei and Naruto smirked and complimented the other's move with a high five. They had gotten the snobby Uchiha with their attack. Naruto turned to his summon who was beating his C in triumph. The two tails swished behind him excitedly. Very nice job. May I ask your name? The monkey turned his head towards the ground to look at Naruto. The monkey was easily 10 feet tall and towered over everyone in the room. My name is Yoboro. It was a pleasure fighting alongside you, Uzumaki-sama. The monkey bowed before disappearing in a puff of smoke. Naruto and Mei were about to return to their seats when a resounding clapping could be heard throughout the meeting room. Everyone looked to find the source of the applause and landed on a masked man sitting on the bodyguard balcony area. To their disappointment, Sasuke was unconscious and laying face down next to him. Naruto looked his new opponent up and down, surmising that the man in front of him was none other than Madara himself. At this point, Ai and Gaara had arrived with their bodyguards and a throng of samurai behind them. Bravo Uzumaki-san, that was a wonderful performance. Your Kekkei Genkai is quite a powerful one at that, it could easily be equal to the Sharingan in strength. Now that the colorful introductions are over, I will formally introduce myself to you all. My name is Madara Uchiha. A seemed to snap at sound of this, his glare intensified towards the relaxed leader of Akatsuki. Why are you here? Have you come here for the Jinchuriki? Madara merely shook his head to the question. No, I will capture them all in due time. I have come before you today to tell you of my goal for the world, the moons I plan. Now, Madara was interrupted when an irate charged through the air and launched a fist at his face. Sighing, Madara allowed the man to phase through him and instead hit the wall. What the hell? They heard us say from behind the broken wall. Madara chuckled at his surprise. Naruto's eyes widened as he observed the move. Did the raikage pass through him? How did he do that? That is Madara's ability. Kankuro questioned, never seeing anything like it before. Temari seemed to have a bit better of an idea. Looks like a time-space jutsu, I wonder where he got it though. That was quite an outburst raikage, please calm down. I have no intention of harming you or any of the others gathered here, well at least not yet. He said the final part with an evil cackle in his voice, obviously intending it for Naruto and Gaara. Madara slowly stood up and brushed his cloak of any dirt that had fallen on it thanks to the destruction of the wall behind him. He picked up Sasuke by the scruff of his en and used his time warp jutsu to send him to a safe place for now. I quickly returned to his place near the other cage and glared at the masked man. I for one have no intention of listening to you, all Akatsuki are mad with power and must be stopped. Madara pondered this for a second and then shrugged. That's fine, now why don't you leave while I speak to the others? I grew a vein on his forehead and looked ready to attack the man again before Darui calmed him down. Come on sir, let him speak for now. We have no information on this guy, the best we can do now is observe. I looked at him and said nothing, merely looking at the ground in defeat. I suppose you are ready now. Then, may I present to you ladies and gentlemen, Madara was once again interrupted by Gaara, however he spoke a genuine question to the leader of Akatsuki. What do you want with Sasuke? Why have you persuaded him to join your side? Is it because you are trying to bring the Uchiha back to their former glory? Madara looked at him before chuckling a bit at the absurd idea. Bring the Uchiha back? Why would I want to do that? My own people betrayed me and refused to listen to my words of reason, if you ask me. Madara's revealed is in anger and his voice turned cold. They got what they deserved from Itachi. Everyone's eyes widened, he agreed with the S of the Uchiha. Wow, cold man. Akatsuki muttered, it was a little evil to think that way of your own people. Tell me about it dude. Madara responded in a sarcastic tone, bringing Akatsuki to look back up in surprise at the man who merely smiled under his mask. He enjoyed to mess with the shinobi before him. But anyway, Sasuke's ability to use Susanoo means that he is a very rare commodity. You couldn't find Uchiha able to harness it very commonly even back when the villages didn't exist, let alone today. Who would allow such prized eyes to go to waste? I brought my apprentice here with me so that he could train the eyes and further awaken his powers, and I can see he did just that. Naruto cringed, he wished he killed Sasuke when he had the chance now more than ever. I was actually hoping I could take all 5 cages hostages, but I see that he wasn't powerful enough to do that. Oh well, he was able to make the raikage lose a hand so it wasn't so bad. The cage in question ground his teeth together in an effort to stay quiet but was quickly losing the battle. Madara held up his hand in defense towards the cage's death glare. I was just kidding, I'm sure you can find another one somewhere. Now anyway, he was interrupted again, for what seemed like the 1000th time by a frustrated A. Gar, you bastard. Once again, Madara allowed the fast man to phase right through him, making a second hole in the wall behind Madara. The masked man hiked a thumb over his shoulder and asked the Kumo bodyguards a question that was a bit embarrassing. Is he always like this? How do you get anything done? Darui chuckled and scratched the back of his N. Yeah. The boss is a little excitable sometimes, that's all. See the larger man in the back of the N, quieting him. Shut up Darui, he is the enemy remember. Darui just shrugged, what he spoke was the truth. Why would you want us hostages? May blurted out to the distracted man, it brought his attention over to her. Just to make sure that no one strong enough to interfere would be gone during the Moon Eye operation. And I must say, his tone took a more flirty tone, making May sick to her stomach. You are quite beautiful, Mizukage-sama. He allowed her honorary suffix to roll of his tongue, bringing a disgusted look onto her face. I'm engaged thank you. She moved a bit closer to Naruto who wrapped a protective arm around her. Madara's eye swirled in bemusement. Oh what a shame. You will become a widow early. That was it. May launched a lava bullet right at the man's face which harmlessly passed through him without any reaction from him. He watched as the blonde Jinchuriki reeled his fiancée back in. She was fighting against him and glaring at Madara with B. It was obvious she wanted to K him after that remark. Let me go Naruto. I'll K him. Madara chuckled a bit. This was too much fun. Calm down Mayheim, he isn't going anywhere. Naruto grunted out, trying to restrain his admittedly very powerful wife-to-be. With all due respect to you, why have come here to announce this to us? I remember hearing of your exploits throughout my child and shinobi years. With that kind of power, couldn't you do whatever you want? Onoki asked truthfully. The man was a legend among shinobi in terms of strength and charisma and also betrayal. Madara turned his attention to the old man and shook his head negatively. After my battle with the Slug Princess's grandfather, Hashirama Senju, I am but a mere shadow of my former self. I can no longer wield the power I once had and it is impossible for me to gain it back, but that is where the genius of my plan comes from. C spoke up next, trying to get a straight answer about this operation of his. So, with this operation of yours you are trying to bring yourself back to that strength. Madara looked at the young boy and shrugged, indicating he didn't think that either way. Well, it is a way to think of it, but that isn't really what it is about at the same time. Mifune was getting angry by how he alluded to the operation so much without actually telling him the details. Enough of this. Quit beating around the bush and tell us what this Moony operation is. Madara shrugged again. If you would allow me, I would like to take a seat for this. He bended his knees and slowly took a seat on the balcony to get more comfortable. We asked what the hell your plan is. Kankuro yelled out, getting tired of the man's evasiveness. Madara shook a finger at the boy and scolded him. My plan is for all to become one with me, to achieve a perfect form. His Sharingan eye curled with glee from his hidden smile while the others allowed their eyes to widen. What does he mean, become one? What the hell is that supposed to mean? Onoki asked. He didn't understand the man's thought process. There is a stone monument that reads of the past, of the Sharingan and of the Rikudo Sennin. It is a monument that is kept beneath Konoha to this day. Without a Sharingan, it is impossible to read. With Mangekyo, more is legible and even further with the Rinnegan. What the hell does this have to do with anything? Get to the point. I yelled out, he just wanted the man to get on with it. Madara merely shook his head in disappointment. Haven't you wondered why we hold the Sennin at such a high regard? Why he is considered a legend? Madara made his voice rise with each word, placing his hands into the air for emphasis. You have the Mangekyo and one of your organization members has the Rinnegan. With those abilities, you should have been able to translate it all by now. Spill it. Tsunade spoke up for the first time. Yes, let's hear what it had to say. Onoki muttered, not too pleased. He saved the world from a monster. Gaara and Naruto's eyes widened. What kind of monster? Could it be like the tailed beasts? What kind of monster? Gaara spoke up, bringing Madara to look at him. You and your blonde friend Naruto contain a portion of the beast within you right now. All the Biju of the world were combined into one, a monster with the ultimate level of chakra known to us. Everyone listened intently. This monster seemed very powerful. It was called the Juubi. Now it was their turn to become shocked and outraged. That thing was nothing but a myth. Shouldn't the beasts only go up to 9? Akatsuki muttered, not seeing past what they knew to be fact. Like I said, it was a combination of all 9 into one being. Madara reminded. All of the tailed beasts are made of chakra, pure demonized chakra. They were created by the Rikudo Sennin by dividing the chakra of the Juubi. He explained further after seeing some of them still confused. Wait, does this relate to the reason why Akatsuki is gathering the Biju? Kankuro was getting suspicious. Were they trying to bring the Juubi back? Madara merely continued on with his story, ignoring the comment for now. The Rikudo Sennin created a technique to protect the world from the power and destruction the Juubi would surely bring to us. This technique has been handed down and spread throughout the nations of the shinobi world, a secret technique that is no longer needed. The sealing of Biju. The Rikudo Sennin was the Juubi's Jinchuriki, the world's first human S. A few gasps or surprised looks were rewarded to Madara. But the power was too great and too evil for it to be contained forever. Upon his death, the Juubi would be able to reign free and terrorize the world. Knowing this right before his death, the Sennin launched the divided chakra across the planet's surface, which then created the 9 Biju. Its actual body was sent where no one could reach it, the sky. It became the moon we now know of today. It was beginning to sound a little too far-fetched at this point. Is something like this really possible? Can a human accomplish that? Darui asked, not really believing the story. Madara shook his head negatively. No, it is because the Sennin was beyond what we could consider human today. His powers were beyond imagining, something you cannot put a definition or standard to, at least not anymore. So you are gathering the 9 scattered pieces of chakra, that apparently came from an ultra-powerful being that is sealed away in the sky. If this is true, what do you plan to do with that power? Mifune questioned. The final question had been asked. I will create the Juubi again. Then I will seal it within me and gain the abilities being its Jinchuriki has to offer. Using its ultimate chakra, I will use a jutsu thought unattainable, an extension of an existing Sharingan power. The ultimate Tsukuyomi. With its power, I will cast a genjutsu over the entire world and have the people bow to me. The one they cast aside as mad, the one they cast aside as evil, I will bring them to their knees. They were taken aback. The man was mad with power. It will be without conflict, without war. The people will be one with me. This is the Moon Eye plan. It was silent only a moment before he yelled out his objection, shattering a chair with his fist. Never. I won't give the world up to the likes of you. A murmuring spread throughout those gathered, all agreeing with the rakage. Peace made through illusion is nothing but that, an illusion. True peace comes from being forged with your own real hands, in reality. Gaara noted, denouncing the man's idea. What do you expect us to find in such a world? It would be devoid of hopes, dreams, family, and love. Who would wish to live in a world like that? May attacked him with words instead of fists. Naruto silently agreed along with her. It seems as though you want to unite the world for peace yet take it all for yourself. Onoki noted. You all denounce my idea, but do you really think you can do better? Decades of conflict between your villages and only now do you unite because of my organization. You are all hopeless. The cage glared at him for insulting them. Now then, if you would please hand over all your Jinchuriki remaining as to cooperate with my operation, it would be much appreciated. Madara held out his hand for Gaara and Naruto to come along. Neither made a move to go forward. Mei stood a bit straighter and moved closer to her fiancé, holding him close, afraid that the man would actually attempt to take him. Naruto merely held her tighter as well, reassuring her that he was going nowhere. The Sand siblings formed around Gaara, intent on keeping him away from the man. Madara noticed the lack of support and decided to resort to threatening. If you don't, then the only other choice is war. Their eyes widened. War. We will not hand them over. They are people and you are them for your own selfish gains. Mei announced to the party. We will not hand over either the Kazekage or Naruto Uzumaki, so I suggest you make another offer, Uchiha. Onoki told the masked man, who merely sighed. I may not have all the tailed beasts. But you will find that I have some tricks up my sleeve. Even with a sliver of the Juubi's power on my side, you will lose. Naruto glared at him, deciding now was the time to take the stand. You will not beat us. We can triumph you if we are united. Madara glanced over towards him and rested his head on his hand. Well, I suppose that means that I have to say this now. I declare the fourth shinobi war. Are you serious? Tsunade asked, not believing that the man in front of her would be willing to do something so silly as declare the war so great to be the fourth of all the shinobi wars. Believe me, Tsunade, I do not jest when I speak words. She merely growled at the nickname as the rest of the cage processed the information. I believe I will take my leave now. The next time we meet it will be on the battlefield. With that, Madara sent himself through a portal to his hideout to devise a new plan of attack. Those gathered there still stared at the spot Madara had been in, thinking over what had just happened. War had been declared and a threat not only Jinchuriki but all of the 5 major nations had been made by the leader of Akatsuki, Madara Uchiha. My, what to do now? Onoki muttered to the people gathered, a bit overwhelmed. There is no other way now, we must form an alliance to stand up against Madara. Gaara announced to them all, bringing eyes on him. Remember that Danzo and his Anbu have rebelled and joined Akatsuki. We must incorporate that into the enemy's strength as well. Kakashi noted to the group. I agree, to keep Naruto and my brother safe, we must form an alliance. Are agreed with the gathering. The question is though, what to do with the Jinchuriki? His goal is obviously their capture and the extraction of the beast within. How do we stop him from doing that? Onoki asked. Murmurs went through the crowd as they tried to come up with an idea. Naruto made his presence known with his blunt opinion. I'm sure some of you are thinking this, but I refuse to sit on the sidelines during this war just because I hold the Kyuubi inside of me. I can fight, that much is obvious, and I have Akatsuki before, so I refuse to hide like a rat until the war is done. Mei decided to stand by her fiancé on this one, she trusted in his ability. I agree with Naruto, he is easily the most powerful shinobi in my village next to me. It would be foolish to hide him away, we can use him and the other Jinchuriki who are capable in the war. A turn towards Gaara, who had been silently thinking until now. Kazekage, you are also a current host, what is your stance? Gaara looked at A and closed his eyes, relaying his verdict. I stand beside Naruto, we will support the war just as our shinobi will do. It wouldn't be right for my people to have to risk their lives to protect me when I am supposed to do the same for them instead. Kankuro and Temari smirked, that was the Gaara. My brother will not listen to me when it comes to strategy, so he is out of the question as a fighter. I can think of a way to subdue him though, a simple vacation to our secure islands will suffice I think. A thought out loud, his brother was quite rebellious. Then we will just have to secure a select number of Jinchuriki for now, make sure they are safe. Then we can formally start making battle plans, correct? Naruto asked, all there agreed with that. Yes, there are still a few Biju unaccounted for that must be secured for the good of the world. I will find my brother and get Yugito somewhere safe, she might be a bit difficult however. Mei stepped up next with Kiri's responsibility. We have 2 unaccounted for tailed beasts. Utakata of the 6 tails, he is a wanted criminal that my Anbu have been tracking for some time, he will be the easiest to apprehend. Then there comes the 3 tails, apparently it survived the death of its Jinchuriki and is still alive somewhere. We have no information on where it is at the moment. As soon as we arrive back in our village, I will begin to send out search teams for it and send my best shinobi to apprehend Utakata. The other Kage nodded to this, agreeing with her course of action. That does it for the Jinchuriki I suppose, what now? Anything else to say before we part ways? Onoki asked the group, his back ached and he wanted to go home. We must decide on a leader for the alliance. Mifune reminded, bringing everyone back to the argument of who would lead the unstoppable coalition. You were pointing out all our flaws a minute ago, why change your mind about us now? Mifune stroked his beard, attempting to find the right choice. I believe that the Raikage would be the best option. The ability to have the 8 tails on our side is important, and if he is the only one who could control him, then it would be a moot point to pick anyone else. His village has also shown enough loyalty or at least chivalry in not joining Akatsuki or bolstering their ranks with their missing nin. I thought you said he was too emotional. Onoki countered, angry that he changed sides so easily. In times of stress, which these were, the Raikage acted with much emotion. It is obvious that this is not always his behavior though, forgive me for my first analysis. Onoki merely huffed in defeat and bowed to those gathered. I will do my best to lead you all to victory over Akatsuki, now we must hurry to our tasks. Upon their completion or any new information is gained on Akatsuki, we will schedule a new meeting between us. I looked into each one of their eyes to show his level of seriousness. A meeting to discuss war. The cage gave their final salutations and goodbyes, embarking once again for their countries of origin to rally their villages behind them. 000. Omegacore. Meeting place. Madara appeared with a beaten and burned Sasuke over his shoulder before he dropped him onto the cold floor. A loud crack came from the boy's body as it hit the hard ground. Madara looked up to see Danzo and Zetsu both sitting in seats waiting for him to tell them what happened. How did it go, Madara? Danzo asked with a curious tone. Madara walked over to the table and sat in his chair. It went all right, we are now at war. It was as I expected, the cage of fools to think they can actually stand against me yet they try anyway. The now united Zetsu spoke up. It is as you expected, my lord, but what will we do for troops? Madara pondered this, looking out a nearby window and watched the rain pelt the glass. I think I will visit my old home, see if they missed me. A hidden smile curled upon his face, his Sharingan twirled in excitement. Conan had listened to the meeting and quickly flew back to report what she had heard. Moving swiftly with her paper transformation, Conan arrived at Pain's hideaway. While still members of Akatsuki, both had been left out of many of the major developments so far and it was bringing Nagato much grief. Pain. I have returned. The ringed purple-eyed man turned towards her, his face covered in an assortment of L. What have you found, Conan? She sighed. It was as they feared. Madara has declared war on the cage at the summit and is out to get the rest of the Jinchuriki. He still works alongside Danzo. I'm afraid that it wasn't a rumor as much as we both wished to believe. Pain looked at the ground, his emotionless mask was about ready to fall at just the thought of the man who had Kei Yahiko. Then I suppose it is time we acted. Pain turned to face his long-time friend since childhood. Conan, find the one called Naruto Uzumaki, I wish to speak with him. 000. Kirigakure. Village Gate. A few days after the summit. Naruto and company walked slowly up to their village gate, happy to be back home in their native land instead of the cold and snowy iron. Walking up to the gate, they noticed that there were no gate guards or anyone to welcome their scheduled arrival. They looked at one another. It was strange, and strange meant only one thing in the shinobi world: dangerous. Moving through the streets, they were met with almost no life at all. It was as if half the city had just up and left while they had been away. Arriving at the Mizukage building, they saw none of the usual guards and it even looked as though the place had come under attack. Smoke and scorch marks lay around the outside and what could have been dried beef lay untouched on the ground. Going on alert, the three began to move slowly towards the door when Naruto sensed something from behind. A Kiri shinobi was dashing towards them, a blue mask denoting they were an Anbu that was meant to guard the Mizukage. Welcoming the arrival, Naruto saw that the man did not stop. Instead, he pulled out a kunai and threw it at Mei's back. Anger swelled through Naruto, who quickly moved and caught the kunai before throwing it right back at the shinobi, who had not been expecting such quick reflexes and was hit in the sea. By then Mei and Chojuro had turned around to see Naruto having thrown a kunai at a missed shinobi. Naruto, what are you? Mei questioned him, but he merely pointed towards the S-man. He tried to throw a kunai at you. You couldn't expect it because his chakra was so familiar, you expected him to be friendly. This man is a traitor. Mei's eyes widened as she looked at the man who was beginning to take shallow breaths. Damn right. Kyo-sama was right. About you, Uzumaki. Bunch of pigs. Naruto and Mei's eyes widened. Kyo. Naruto was upon the man in a second, gripping his shirt tightly as he grilled him for information about what had happened. What do you mean, Kyo? He is in prison. And why did you attack the Mizukage? You are a traitor if you are attempting to kill her. The man chuckled a bit, although it was hampered by his wound. Kyo has been freed. He told us all about you and your people with your atrocities and warmongering. Kyo has shown us the truth about you, Uzumaki. That's why. The man's voice was fading fast. Naruto wanted to know what he was about to say, so he shook him one last time to keep him conscious. Why, what? Tell me. Naruto took off the mask and found the man coughing up a significant amount of B.A.S. evil smirk was on his face though as he faced his final hour of life. That's why. We are going to kill all bloodline users. The purges have already begun. The man whispered the final word, his last breath taking the air right out of the three shinobi's lungs. Purges? No. The people wouldn't do that, they wouldn't. May couldn't believe it. Kiri was going back into what she had striven so hard to get away from. Tears welled up in her eyes and she could find no words. Damn him. Damn him. Naruto beat the S-body below him, taking his anger out on the madman Kyo with what he had done. He had played a final trick, a revenge card on the Uzumaki, and they were too far away to do anything about it. Mizukage-sama, Naruto. Both turned towards the quiet Chojuro, who was unsure what to say to help them. He was on their side 100% though. He said that the purges were beginning, that means, we may still have some time. I think. Right. Naruto and May's eyes widened, he was right, they could still stop it from happening. Let's go, we have to find the bloodline users before they kill them. Naruto announced, taking off into a run for the village center. If they were to make an example of someone, they would do it there. May and Chojuro followed closely behind. All three had to stop a genocide-driven man, 2 cage-level shinobi against a whole village. A piece of cake for the two most powerful Uzumaki. 000. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.